Welcome to the 5G podcast.
We're glad you're here.
We hope you enjoy our conversation about God, guns, games, goals, and gastronomy.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode. For our agenda, that's fine. We'll just eyeball it.
Yeah, just go down the list. I suppose.
Yeah, why not? It's a special Tuesday episode.
Tuesday episode of the 5G podcast.
That's right. When Trevor is still dressed well for some reason, and Steve.
I was an hour and a half ago. Yeah. I got home and I was like, screw this. I was gone for 2 days of work. Actually, so I was sick on Tuesday and Wednesday of last week as well.
Yeah.
And so
you were gone for almost a week then.
I did a half day Tuesday and a half day Wednesday. Thinking I could tough it out both days, but
no.
And then Thursday, I was in Utah with for 4 days, but 2 days, 2 work days, right?
You came back. You were at work Monday though, or
yeah. We got back Sunday evening. So, but getting back yesterday was a hugely busy day because I had 3 days of work to catch up on, basically. And then today I was like, I finally got caught up on everything plus whatever else I had to do.
Yeah.
But
busy.
Anyway, well, there it is.
That's cool.
So I wanted to tell you about a new show.
Tell me. I'm intrigued.
Did you ever see the movie The Gentleman?
I don't think so, no.
Fantastic movie.
Not ringing a bell.
9 out of 10 movie. Very, very good movie.
The Gentlemen, plural?
Men, plural.
Okay.
It's Matthew McConaughey as a American drug lord in England.
American drug lord.
So he's an American. He plays an American.
Yeah.
But he has built his life in London, in England.
What time period is it?
Modern.
Oh, modern.
Yeah,
okay.
Modern.
Gotcha.
Modern. It came out in 2020, I want to say.
Okay.
Maybe 2021. Very, very good movie.
Nice, yeah.
Very good movie.
Kind of a crime drama.
Crime drama, a little bit of mysteries, a good, decent amount of action, but like realistic action.
Yeah.
Like
Guy
Ritchie.
Mm-hmm.
He produced it and directed it.
It's think of another movie he made, but
Matthew McConaughey, like really, really good acting. Really good movie.
Cool.
Guy Ritchie, it was a very successful movie, and so he went to Netflix with this idea for that, basically the movie, but as a TV show. Yeah, and with different actors. It was written differently. It was more like, it feels like it was an earlier setting than when
they didn't continue.
It wasn't, no, and I don't know if they're in the same. Some things might have been retconned, right? Same type of story, but just as a TV show.
Okay, so they almost pulled a Stargate, but not quite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Stargate did just pick up where the movie left off.
Yeah, so I think it was like an afterthought, like, hey, we could actually develop this universe more, but we can't pay Matthew McConaughey to be in a TV show.
Yeah, right.
Right? And
a little too small fry.
But the TV show came out a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now.
Huh.
8 episodes, hour long each. I think the last one is like 50 minutes or something like that. One of the best TV shows I've ever watched.
Nice.
One of the best TV shows I've ever watched.
It sounds like you binged it pretty quick then.
I did because I was sick.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I was...
When you're sick, and you got a whole day to just watch something on the screen?
Yeah. So what I did when I got home from work those days is, well, the first day I was in bed the entire day.
You doped yourself up on medicine.
I did, and then I got home at noon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, got home at noon, and then I was in bed until the next morning.
Yeah.
The next day, though, on Wednesday, I watched 5 or 6 episodes.
The Gentleman.
And then finished it yesterday evening, last night. And one of the best TV shows I've ever watched.
Is the story complete? It's just going to be a 1-season miniseries, or
they made it so that it could
could be renewed?
So it definitely 100% is meant to be renewed.
Cool.
But they didn't leave any cliffhangers.
Oh, okay. So it was a complete story.
It is a complete story.
Gotcha.
But they left it open for chapter 2.
Yeah. All right.
Right. And I really hope they do, because if the acting, phenomenal.
Yeah. Were there any big name actors in it? I mean, probably nobody as big as Matthew McConaughey, but
one of the main actresses is more well known than others.
Okay.
the main actor was in a movie with some big characters or a TV show.
Okay.
He was in what is it? I looked it up because I was interested. He was in a TV show. I don't remember his name, but he was in a TV show called White Lotus, which is a relatively popular TV show.
And then, what platform is it on?
Netflix.
Oh, the Netflix.
Yeah.
Come on, Netflix algorithms. I didn't see that one recommended to me. It's right up my alley.
It's very good.
Instead, I get recommended girl boss movies. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Very, very highly recommended. Very high. If you have time tonight,
yeah,
I might suggest.
Might pop on.
Might suggest it.
You watch it by yourself with the wife?
By myself, just because I was sick and my wife was at work. So yeah. I've wanted Ryan to watch it as well because
it was good enough.
It really was a great show. Not anything like from the first episode. You're like, yeah, like it's not a slow burn show where you're like waiting for it to pick up and like you don't have to like follow all of these like family politics of 7 different houses like in Game of Thrones or whatever. You just gotta know the main character, what they do, and like
it hits the ground
it's kind of like a traditional TV show where each episode they have kind of like this. There's like an overarching storyline for the entire season, and then like episodes like 2, 3, 4, and 5 have like mini stories that like promote that, but they like are complete stories within it, and then it all gets tied into at the end, and you're like, this is cool.
I like that. That's enjoyable. That harkens back to like 2010s TV.
Yeah, exactly.
You kind of had the bad guy of the week.
Yeah. It's a very, very similar idea, but there's a lot more. There's many main characters who you kind of can get frustrated with, and be happy with, and there's like some like little side stories where you're like, ooh, that's kind of interesting. Not a main plot point at all, but like just like it's the different family dynamics. They'll like mention a story, and you're like, ooh, interesting. And the way that they get out of situations is always creative, but seems realistic, right? There was nothing that was like far-fetched about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to give spoilers away because it's a relatively new show, but like, druggies acting like druggies.
Crime lords being crime
lords being crime lords, kind of like, and
mafia
people making mistakes and trying to fix their mistakes type thing, and they have to come up with creative ways to do it, and you're not sure if they're going to get away with it.
That's intriguing because there's plenty of drama on plenty of content created on American mobsters and gangs, New York, that's Chicago, that sort of thing. But yeah, London. When you said London initially, I'm like, okay, most of the like London crime that I've seen represented in media is like old town, Victorian era, or even 1920s, 1910s.
Like Peaky Blinders is like 1920s to 1930s, 40s.
Yeah, that seems to be when like London crime was big. But yeah, like a modern.
Yeah, this is like supposed to be set in like 2022 or 2023.
That sounds neat.
So very, very modern. It really, like, the character arcs are well set up. Like from the beginning, the first episode starts, you're like, what the heck is going on? This is not what I thought it was going to be. And then the character arcs are developed very smoothly, but you understand 100% who each character is at that moment by like the first 20 minutes in. Okay. Every single character.
Yeah.
You get this.
Doesn't have to be that complicated.
Nope.
It's understood, yeah.
And there is development along the characters aren't stagnant. There is development, and it's kind of
that sounds well written, yeah.
It was very well written. Guy Ritchie wrote it and directed it and all that stuff. So it's his baby. So I just think I really think it could be like maybe not like a generation defining TV show, but one of like the most popular TV shows if given its fair shake.
Cool.
I really think it's really well done.
Yeah, I hope they're paying enough for advertisement, but
I don't know.
Yeah, this is the first I'd heard of it, but I'm definitely intrigued. So
yeah, it's very, very well done.
The Gentleman on Netflix.
Yeah. The Gentleman on Netflix.
Not sponsored,
but if you wanted to, would not say no.
No, certainly not. Next topic. I don't have a great segue, so tell me about. You have some Assassin's Creed Magic the Gathering cards.
So I was just perusing my internet the other day.
Yes. What does the internet have for me today?
Well, first of all, oh man, I can barely even read this one. I sent you.
Were they leaks or were they?
No, it was from MTG Arena Zone.
Oh, okay. So some of the
MTGA
official
Zone.
ones.
Yeah. So there's a couple of them. So I'm just gonna go. Let me see here. How many do I have? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We had a big episode covering a lot of the spoilers from that weekend or whatever, and so yeah, we didn't talk about any in particular. I think I just mentioned that, like, oh yeah, they got Leonardo da Vinci on a Magic card.
Yeah. So I don't have him screenshotted. I don't think
that's fine.
I do have the Cleopatra one screenshotted.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, let me start with the Animus.
Yeah.
2 mana legendary artifact. This one is very specific.
Okay.
But it's really, really interesting. And like you could build a really cool deck with this in it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's 2 mana legendary artifact. At the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 target legendary creature card from a graveyard with a memory counter on it.
Gotcha.
Then the activated ability is tap until your next turn. Target legendary creature you control becomes a copy of target creature card in exile with a memory counter on it. Activate only as a sorcery.
Only as a sorcery. Okay. And it's not until your first end step that you do it. So on your next turn, you can activate. Gotcha. That is pretty neat. That's very flavorful too, because the graveyard is like the things of the past, right? Mm-hmm. The creatures that have already died and moved on, and then the Animus is in game. It's like you enter the machine and you get to relive your ancestors' life. So it's like you're a legendary creature entering the Animus, and then you become a legendary creature that died.
So my thought with this is that it would make a very interesting... Caleb, for example, has the legendary deck, right?
Yeah, Legendary Matters.
It'd be very interesting to
just fly, man.
Because legendary creatures normally have relatively important abilities. That's why they're a legendary creature. Mm-hmm. So to be able to like copy anyone that you have exiled either from your graveyard or another's is like pretty cool. And especially for 2 mana, and then you can
you can steal somebody's Grizzlebrand.
And you exile a creature from a graveyard at the end of every end step.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah.
And then
remind
me of the tap ability. It turns into a legendary until end of turn?
Until your next turn.
Until your next turn, it is a copy.
Target legendary creature you control becomes a copy of target creature card in exile with a memory counter on it.
Ooh. Until your next turn, only as a sorcery. That's cool, because even if they destroy your Animus and you get it back, those creature cards are still exiled with
memory counters on it.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. I wonder, interesting, you have to go back and look and see if anything puts memory counters on stuff. Probably not, but...
let me see. I think I have...
If there's any way to put memory counters on things. Probably very unlikely.
So, okay, I'll get to it. There's another... one of the other creatures has memory counters on it.
Nice.
I'll get to that. Let me just do that one right now. Why not? So it's Altair Iblahad.
Okay.
He's I
think he's the character from 1 and 2? Altair?
Yeah, that could be how you say it.
I think so.
So 3 mana, red, white, black.
Mardu.
The 3-color ones, I'm still working on the 2-color ones.
That's fair. Red, white, black.
3 mana, 3/3. Legendary creature, so he could be a commander. I would expect him. He has a first strike. And then, whenever he attacks, exile up to 1 target assassin creature card... Sorry. Exile up to 1 target assassin creature card from your graveyard with a memory counter on it.
Okay.
Then, for each creature card you own in exile with a memory counter on it, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of it. Ooh. Exile those tokens at the end of combat.
Oh, that's really good. Just every time you attack. It's pretty strong.
It's really strong.
Yeah, even compared with combined with the Animus. So you can exile even more things with memory counters. Yeah.
Put some sort of like hexproof him. Give him +2/+2, so he's a 5/5 with first strike. So it's like
your whole deck kind of hinges around him. It seems.
But you put an Animus in that deck as well, and you have the Animus as well, and then if he dies, you just exile him, and then
exile him.
He's got a memory counter, and then you can Animus him, and he comes back as well as a.
Oh,
because he would be. Because it's
you could turn something else into a copy of your commander.
Wait, so is that broken?
So he would need to
wait. Listen. Wait. So if you have an Animus
combo,
I think it might be because if you have an Animus, right,
mm-hmm.
and you have him he's been exiled from using the Animus with a memory counter, and it has a memory counter on it. You can tap. Creature turns into him,
mm-hmm.
and then
on attack trigger,
whenever he attacks, exile up. So you exile one from your graveyard. That happens.
Then make a token copy of each one,
and then each one. He's also a token. He would make a token copy of himself.
So legend rule, because the token copies the legendary status.
Ah.
So, good idea, and there's a way. There's ways around the legend rule.
Well, so what happens if you
you can only have one token of him as well, if it's.
So my question then is, if you have like a what's the one that whenever a creature you control dies, it deals 1 damage to.
Oh, like a blood artist.
Yeah, something like that, right?
A huge player, yeah.
Whenever one of your creatures dies. Mm-hmm. So, when a copy of a legend comes in,
mm-hmm.
one of them has to go away.
Correct, yeah.
And does it die?
It's called the legendary rule. And
yeah.
It's a state-based action. When there's 2 legendaries with the same name, you pick which one gets to live, and you sacrifice the other. So it is a dice trigger, yes.
So, my question is, because... And I'm trying to figure out how to explain this.
Uh-huh.
It's on attack trigger.
Yeah.
A copy of him. So if you have him on as a copy
mm-hmm.
through the Animus, you go to attacks
with the copy.
You attack with him.
Mm-hmm.
The actual card is in the graveyard with a memory counter on it.
Mm-hmm.
It would come in. It would still come in as a copy.
Correct.
Attacking.
Uh-huh.
When it attacks...
No. When it attacks is a keyword for declare it as an attack.
Ah. Yeah. Okay. So whenever he attacks... It says whenever name of card attacks. Uh-huh. That is whenever it is declared as an attacker.
You physically turned it sideways.
Okay. Gotcha.
Declared it as an... They're just homogenizing phrases. I mean, that one's been around for a long time.
Sure.
But with the whole enters debacle.
Gotcha. Okay.
Sure.
So it wouldn't just infinitely loop itself in that situation.
Yeah,
because then you could Legends rule
attacks, and then it makes a copy, but then this one attacks.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Right?
Not quite, unfortunately.
Okay.
Declared as an attacker.
Gotcha. Because I was thinking, like, with the Legends rule, you could then just like sacrifice the first one, and then it would just like you would just like infinite loop.
If
you
had some sort of a payoff, like the Blood Artist, right?
Yeah, exactly.
In theory, yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea. Good thinking.
Or a Goblin Bombardment.
Yep.
Because you could sack it to the Goblin Bombardment.
No, state-based action.
Oh, state-based action.
Sacrifice the legendary.
Mm.
Which, again, is a moot point because that doesn't loop infinitely. But the principle is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, that guy is kind of cool with like the whole... You exile assassins, but then they come back.
Yeah. I like that.
Each combat?
Mardu, Red, White, Black always has a hard time sort of finding its theme in Commander. Mm-hmm. And is a segue into, I'll talk later, my experience with the last Mardu deck I played. But, because they've never come up with a good theme since Vampires. Mardu Vampires is the best, and nothing else really comes close. They had a guy in the last year or two that doubles your declare attack triggers. So that's kind of decent. You know, Mardu is usually combat focused, but there have been so many that are just bad combat related commanders that are just eh. But that sounds interesting. An interesting take. I like the idea of like exiling your own commander.
Yeah.
And then you keep him in exile. You're like, yeah, nobody can touch my commander, but I'm making token copies of him from exile, and I'm still attacking with him. Yeah, that's neat. I think that's a unique take. I don't know if it'd be good.
but it's cool.
As vampires, but it's cool.
Yeah. I think there's a better, if you're going to do a assassin deck.
It's the 5-color guy, right?
So he's a 2-mana 3/2.
He's a 2-mana
with menace
with all 5 colors and commanders.
Yeah. So
they would have learned that.
He also has this really cool, I don't know if it's new.
It is new.
It is new. So it's Ezio, Auditore da Firenze.
Yeah. He's the popular one. I think he's actually from 2.
I think he's the main character in 2, isn't he?
I think he's from 2 and 3. I think I misspoke.
Yeah.
I think Altair is only from 1.
But
or he's the bad guy.
So he's 1 and a black to cast him. He's a 3/2 with menace, so like already like stupid good stat line.
Premium stats with an invasive keyword.
And then this assassin spells you cast have free running 2.
Free running.
So free running, and that's 2 black.
Mm-hmm.
So free running says you may cast its spell for its free running cost if you dealt combat damage to a player this turn with an assassin or commander.
Yes.
And then he also has the ability.
If you dealt combat damage to a player. Okay.
Yeah. Combat damage to a player this turn with an assassin or commander.
Okay. It's like, I'll pause. I know you're not done reading the card, but it's like Prowl. Prowl is an old keyword where you could cast cards for their Prowl cost, which was normally just a cheaper cost, if you believe dealt combat damage with a rogue. Yeah, was the old one.
So that's already good, right? Like if you're building like an assassin tribal deck.
Assassins are normally 7 mana, maybe 4 or 5 mana tops, but it's cool that you can get them all to cost 2.
Yeah, 2 black, like
easy.
Count me in.
Uh-huh.
Then this is the real like.
It makes him a 5-color.
It makes him a 5-color commander, which it doesn't like.
They clearly designed it for that, which is just kind of weird, but whatever.
So it's whenever Ezio deals combat damage to a player, you may pay a 5-color Wooburg, white, blue, black, red, green. You may pay Wooburg if that player has 10 or less life. When you do, that player loses the game.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you just assassinate them. It's supposed to be
if they're already almost dead, you just hidden blade.
Yeah. Which, like...
Did it need to be 5 colors?
Like, did it need to be 5 colors? And also, like... It just kind of feels like a little bit extra.
Yeah.
Like flavor text-wise, it's kind of... It makes sense.
It's cool.
But... I think if you're going to build him, you're not really going to build him for that, other than being able to put any assassin you want into the deck.
When most of them are probably blue and black anyway, but probably most black.
Aren't there some white ones too?
Could be some white ones, I think.
I don't know. We'll have to look.
I don't think green is offering much in the way of assassins.
No.
Basically.
No. I don't think there's any green assassins.
Yes, that's not really
well, there might be an elf assassin.
An elf assassin.
Anyway.
There could be some goofy goblin assassin where he's got like a rock.
Like red, black, or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, he like the free running 2 thing. It seems stupid, like broken. It just seems so good.
Yeah, I wonder how changelings can abuse that. Every time I see a cool new tribal card, it's like, okay, what changelings though?
True.
But assassins haven't had a strong commander before now, so.
And now I think they have 2 good options.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree.
I think they have 2 good options. Another one that Cleopatra, Exiled Pharaoh.
Oh, yes.
Black and green, which I thought was interesting colors for her. Just like flavor text wise, I would have like expected like maybe green and white.
Yeah.
Just because that feels more Egyptian to me.
Feels more like Valley of the Nile is lush.
Yeah. So 4 mana for 2/4. Not great. But then her abilities are interesting. She has 2 abilities. One's called Allies. The other one is called Betrayal. So Allies is at the beginning of your end step, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 other target legendary creatures.
Okay. Black 1/1 counter legendary matters.
Yeah, and then Betrayal is whenever a legendary creature with counters on it dies, draw a card for each counter on it, and you lose 2 life.
That's better. Okay, so you guaranteed. Oh, but the first one is other target legendaries?
Other target legendary creatures.
Oh, okay. So she's fine. It's not as good as I thought. I thought you could just pile them on her.
Mm-mm.
Dang, okay. I was like, otherwise you're guaranteed like at least a card draw, maybe 2 off of her. But you need 2 other legendaries.
The only redeeming thing I can think about this is that it's in green.
Yeah, which has 1/1 counter synergies.
A lot of 1/1 counter synergies.
Then it's just you need legendary creatures with counters on them to die, and it's draw a card equal the number of
draw a card equal for each counter on it.
That can be dangerous.
And then you lose 2 life.
You lose 2 life.
But if you draw 4 cards and lose 2, it's like
if you draw 16 cards and lose 2, I mean, I'll take that.
Yeah.
A Griselbrand, who's banned in Commander, his activated ability is literally pay 7 life, draw 7 cards.
This is better.
Yeah, I mean,
well, and you're in black, which has a lot of life manipulation stuff.
Yeah.
And so,
black and green, they've tried to do in the past year or 2. They've shifted to more like kind of a life game synergy as well.
So I thought she was interesting.
It's interesting.
I didn't think she was good.
Yeah.
Or like amazing. I like definitely Altair is way better.
Yeah. What's her creature type?
Human noble.
Noble.
Yeah. Human noble.
With some of these universes beyond, they're doing more like nobles and advisors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Interesting creature types.
I thought the allies ability was meh because it's just 2 1/1 counters like
each turn. Yeah. You're not building.
And it's only on legendary creatures.
Yeah, that probably.
The legendary part kind of screws the card a little bit.
It just has to be flavor, so you can pair her with the Alexander the Great universes beyond when we get there or something. I don't know.
Cleopatra was Caesar.
Caesar, my bad.
Or Marcus Aurelius.
That's what I wanted to say, but I wasn't as confident going into that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you can pair her with Caesar from the Fallout decks.
There you go. Let me see what other cards I got for you. All right, I got 2 more. This one's interesting. Eivor Battle Ready.
No idea who that is.
3 mana, white and a red. So
5
mana for a 5/5.
Okay.
With vigilance and haste.
Oh, I'm liking it.
And then it's actually really sick. Whenever whatever the name is, whenever Ivor Battle Ready attacks, it deals damage equal to the number of equipment you control to each opponent.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah, that's nice. Just when he attacks, you shoot everybody.
Ping for 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, on average.
If you build a equipment heavy deck, like
that's fun.
Pretty fun.
You can build a very fun like casual commander deck with that. If you're
I think it would actually be like really good because the card itself has vigilance and haste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you guarantee you to choose.
It's a 5 mana in white and red, which doesn't have a ton of ramp. But if you haven't missed a land drop, you're getting it out turn 5, maybe turn 4 if you got a Soul Ring, right? I guess that would be turn 3 with a Soul Ring.
Yeah.
Theoretically, you already have a Swiftfoot Boots on the board.
Yeah, that's the one trick with those commanders is that it's like a lightning rod. We could probably do a whole episode on my theory behind that, like lightning rod commanders.
Oh, target like for removal.
Yeah. It's like I cast my commander. I'm killing your commander.
For sure.
He's too strong to be left alive. And then the rest of the deck, if you've built around that, doesn't end up doing much.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, if it's a casual game where people aren't running as much like counter magic removal, if all of your buddies are just doing fun like precons, that'd be a blast.
Yeah.
You could make a goofy deck where it's just like I have my commander and all equipment or whatever.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be amazing, but it'd be fun. But it's got potential. It's neat.
So the last one that I found from the Assassin's Creed set that I thought was a little bit busted.
The Haystack.
No, that one's fun though.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's called Cover of Darkness.
No, I don't remember this one actually.
It's a 1-black enchantment. As Cover of Darkness enters the battlefield, choose a creature type.
Okay. I'm on board.
Creatures of the chosen type have fear.
Oh, I do remember hearing about this one. This is a really old reprint from like forever ago when fear was a keyword. Like
fear means it can't be blocked unless it's an artifact creature or a black creature.
Yeah, it was like it's pre-intimidate, which we don't even use intimidate anymore.
I don't even know what Intimidate is.
Intimidators can't be blocked except by artifact creatures or creatures that share a color.
Ah.
They initially fear was just black. It was like just black's way of evasion, and it had a bunch of just like dinky 1/1s with fear. Like, black is gonna, I don't know, kill you with paper cuts. Used to be their thing. But it gives all of one tribe unblockable, basically. Mostly unblockable. 2 mana.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
In black, so you pick...
Assassins.
Assassins. Any of the 5 color tribes works. Dragons, scarecrows.
Ninjas.
Ninjas.
It's going to the ninjutsu deck 100%.
Oh yeah, basically unblockable for 2 mana. Yeah,
that's genius.
Cover of Darkness.
I wanted to see. So those were the ones that I had for the. There's one creature. This is. I sent you a picture of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Very difficult to read.
From the crappy potato quality spoilers from the, Thunder Junction that we talked about.
Gearfed Mirror of the Wilds.
Who is a
white green red 3/3 with haste. Human shaman.
Yeah, he's a reoccurring character in Magic. Actually, he's shown up before. Yeah, I think as red, green, white. Yeah.
It feels very broken to me. This ability. So it has haste, so you can insta tap.
Yep.
Right. So it says non-token creatures you control have tap. Create a token that's a copy of target token you control that entered the battlefield this turn.
Yeah. It could be more broken. They could have
without making a copy of a token.
Creatures you control can tap and make a token of another thing. Luckily they didn't, because then you'd be like, all I have to do is make 1 token and then I have infinite tokens. I'm glad their R&D team did the research a little bit. Did some beta testing, and they're like, non-token creatures can tap to make a token copy of another token.
The problem with this one that I have, not the problem. I was thinking, okay, what would I do in this situation? I would build something that does something like my Tyrannus deck.
Oh yeah, where
I get a big token, like I have a 15/15 come out and a token copy of that 15/15.
Yeah, gotta be careful with the 1/1 counters, because you don't copy 1/1 counters.
True, but I was thinking like make copies of like a Tali.
Yeah, just big stuff anyway.
Or Apex Altasaur. Apex Altasaur would be stupid because that's
11/11,
10/10 with Cascade 4 times.
Oh yes,
isn't that Apex Altasaur?
No, that's Apex Altasaur is the one that fights a bunch of guys.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right. What am I thinking of?
Oh, the guy who cascades 4 times. Apex Devastator.
Devastator. That's right. Yep. Both of those guys are in my big green stompy deck. So.
Yeah. You got to be careful with Hydras, but then other than that, you can go to 10.
All the dinosaurs. Any of like the Minotaurs.
Big dinosaur deck. And he's cheap. He's just 3 mana, 3/3 haste. He can do his ability right away. So he's probably not great on turn 3. Because you want to have already made a token.
But all of your non-token creatures have this ability while he's on the battlefield.
Oh, yeah. So you would probably want to do Mana Dork ramp, I bet. You want.
So I think you just put as many Mana Dorks and as many like token creators as possible.
Yeah, and then just...
Because like imagine like in like, because it's white, so like spirits create spirits. Like there's a couple you can just like do it easily, right? Just you make a spirit, like you make it there's a white card, human cleric, I think. I don't remember the name of the card, but when he's declared as an attacker, he creates a 4/4 white spirit token.
Geist of Saint Traft.
Yes, exactly.
He's a spirit. He makes an angel.
Yes.
He plagued Modern for a while. But
then he exiled that spirit, that token at the end of your turn. Well, if you I attack with this guy, he will make that 4/4.
Yeah.
And then you just say, oh, and by the way, I make 3 other ones that won't get sacrificed at the end because they're not that one.
You got it. You're cooking.
It's like, okay, that was what? I have 3 mana dorks that were 1 mana each. Maybe one that's 2 mana.
Ooh.
Okay. And then I have that guy who I think is 3 mana.
Pretty sure.
3 or 4 mana to cast.
He's even got like hexproof or something like that.
He does have hexproof.
Like, so he's hard to kill, yeah.
You attack once. It creates those tokens.
Mm-hmm.
You tap your guys, create more tokens, and then you've got mana dorks and 3 4/4s.
Yeah.
With flying.
I've got 2 points. It's really cool. The first one is like, what do you remove in a deck like that?
Yeah.
The commander, yeah, I guess, but like at that point, he's already got 3 4/4 angels.
Yeah.
Do you remove the stuff that makes tokens? Maybe. Or do you remove the mana dorks? You know, like everything in that deck would be very volatile. Like it could get out of hand quick. And then my second point that I already forgot. Dang, I had a good point to it. No, yeah, I don't remember.
Because unless he's countered,
mm-hmm.
you can do the ability.
Yeah.
At least once.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I just feel like it's like...
Oh, I remember my second point. Finding ways to make tokens on other players' turns will also be very handy, I feel, because then you can use it as a combat trick. You use it defensively and not just offensively.
Yeah.
So you're in green, white, red.
What you can also do is you can leave your guys up,
mm-hmm.
and then at the end of the opponent right before you turn, it doesn't say creature tokens.
No, yeah,
you can say, oh, you have 1 clue token, you have 1 treasure token. You're like, oh, I'm gonna make 4 more treasure tokens right before my turn.
That's probably how they envisioned it in Standard, because I don't think Standard is doing any big token creature strategies right now, but they got a bunch of clues and treasures and stuff. So
just tap that guy, just like, oh yeah, random token.
That's probably not a bad idea. On your turn, you're probably using offensively making token creatures. On their turn, it's probably more common to be like, yeah, when your opponent draws a card, make a treasure token.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, that's Mothering Tide. But yeah.
But if you have 1 treasure token, you can then just tap all of your non-token creatures to make more treasure tokens.
Definitely.
And then you can cast something in green cheaply.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's cool. It's versatile. His old version was pretty lame. He just like at the beginning of your end step, you got to populate, which was just make a token copy of a token that you have.
Oh.
Like just once on your end step. That's all he did. And he was like a 5 mana whatever. I think he was from Commander 2016, I want to say, off the top of my head. So that's much better. Magic power creep.
There was 4 other cards that I wanted to ask you about.
Okay.
One not from any new sets. One's from Kamigawa.
Oh, all right. Just straight up get my opinion, or
yeah. Let's see. One has the safe is the Outlaws of Thunder Junction.
Yes, it's going to be their bonus sheet.
That one.
Yeah, so you have like a chance to get it in booster packs, but it's like a all mythic booster or bonus.
What's that
sheet.
one?
That's Thunder Junction.
Okay,
that's the set. Yeah.
So I have 1 to ask about Thunder Junction, 2 to ask about Thunder Junction, 1 about Kamigawa, which is way old, or 3 to ask about Thunder Junction. Anyway, I'll start with the Kamigawa one because it's a Light Paws Emperor's Voice.
Oh yeah, I think he's the most popular mono white commander right now.
2 for 2/2. Yeah, feels broken because whenever an aura enters the battlefield under your control, if you cast it, you may search your library for an aura card with a mana value less than or equal to that aura with a different name than each aura you control, with a different name than each other aura you control. Yeah. Put that card onto the battlefield, attached to Light Paws Emperor's Voice, and then shuffle.
Mono white.
It's like Voltron. It's Cascade though.
Yeah, it's basically Cascade.
Artifact Cascade.
Aura Cascade.
Aura Cascade.
Mm-hmm.
Because
they literally.
If I play a 5 mana aura, I go search for a 5 mana aura and put it onto the battlefield.
Less than 5, right?
No,
I think
you may search your library for an aura card with mana value less than or equal to that aura.
Or equal to. Oh, and you get to search as well. Yeah.
So literally, what you do is my 5 mana auras, my 4 mana auras, my 3 mana auras, my 2 mana auras, and my 1 mana auras.
There's some. But yeah, unless you needed a specific, like, oh, I know the 3 mana one gives me double strike. I don't know.
And you have to make sure you don't have Shroud on one of the other ones.
Yes. Yep.
Because, no, it wouldn't matter with Shroud because Shroud is not it's not targeting anything.
Shroud, you want auras inherently target when they enter.
But his ability says put.
Yes, but auras target. Let me read his wording.
It says put that card onto the battlefield attached to Light Paws, then shuffle.
Damage and chance block target. Is protection. Shroud is just target. Okay, I mean, yeah, so you could put on if he already has Shroud.
So you could put, you're able to, but regardless of what.
Yeah, but you're not able to cast anymore. So I think it's a moot point. You're not able to, it enters the battlefield under your control. Oh, you can put an aura on a different creature and then go put one on him if he has Shroud. Right, because it's the if you cast it clause.
Oh, yeah. That's weird that they wrote it like that.
Yeah.
Instead of whenever you cast an aura.
Right.
Why didn't they just say that? This makes it really confusing. Anyway.
Yeah.
I thought he was interesting.
Only limiting factor in him is he's only mono white.
Yeah.
Otherwise he'd be. I mean, I'm sure he's fantastic in Commander. I haven't seen him personally, but I'm sure he plays fun.
Yeah.
I think he would just be stronger if he was like, white blue or white green.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But definitely a powerhouse.
The one a couple of the other ones I want to ask. This one is a Nexus of Becoming. 6 mana artifact. It's in this is the bonus set one, the one with the vault or whatever.
Yeah. So they've spoiled this one. It's not out yet.
Yeah. So at the beginning of combat on your turn, draw a card. It's pretty good. Right. 6 mana, expensive, but free card draw.
Free card draw.
Then you may exile an artifact or creature card from your hand. If you do, create a token that's a copy of the exiled card, except it's a 3/3 golem artifact creature in addition to its other types.
That's it. You just make a copy of an artifact or creature on your end step. So you get one.
No, at the beginning of combat.
Beginning of combat. Okay, so you get one activation a turn, unless you duplicate combats. All right, and then ETB draw a card. So it replace. No. At the beginning of combat, draw a card.
Beginning of combat, draw a card.
Oh, okay. One extra card draw a turn, which in theory can draw you into the creature or artifact to chuck to it to make a copy.
That creature turns into a 3/3 golem, which sucks.
Can be a downside, but it's at the beginning of combat. Wait, it doesn't give the golem haste though, right?
Nope.
Oh yeah, okay. Weird, but it's not bad. It's probably one of those cards that I'm sure is good, but just like me personally, I'd look at it and I'd be like, yeah, this is great. I put it in my deck and then I can never like actually get it to work. And I'd keep it in for way too long because I want it to work, but it just doesn't. So I think it's probably a hard one to find a deck for, but I could be wrong.
If it was 4 mana, it might be better.
Yeah.
6 mana feels expensive though for that.
Yeah, because you're kind of spending your whole turn doing that. And then making a token copy of a thing in your hand.
You really have to find like cards that you don't care about their power and toughness necessarily, but it's the ETB trigger that you want.
Yeah, just the effect.
Right? Or you do a lot of artifact stuff.
She's good.
With like, cheap, like a really good either ETB or effect artifacts that you don't really care because it's still going to be it's still going to have its abilities and stuff like that, right? So if you have a Swiftfoot Boots,
a Soul Ring,
or a Soul Ring or something, right? Any artifact,
you
are using your Soul Ring as a Soul Ring, but it's also a 3/3 golem,
which just makes it more susceptible to creature removal. But like it's a free creature, so you're not complaining.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I thought it was very interesting.
I like it. I think
the second to last one is a sorcery. It's mono red, X red. So X and a red. So Hell to Pay.
Oh yeah, is this the one they spoiled for crime? Commit a crime or no?
No.
Oh okay.
So Hell to Pay deals X damage to target creature. Then create a number of tapped treasure tokens equal to the amount of excess damage dealt to that creature this way.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's a sorcery.
If it was an instant, it'd be broken.
It would be broken.
Because prior to your turn, right at the end step of the opponent...
Oh, I've got 10 mana. I'll just blow up your 1/1 and make 9 treasure tokens.
Tapped treasure tokens that will untap, and now I have 10 plus 9 mana.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
It's a really good mana conversion in that situation.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, as it stands, it's pretty versatile. It's a mythic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mythic.
Yellow.
Oh no, just a rare.
Rare.
Normal rare. I'm like, oh, I was just thinking like that would be insane in a draft. That would go hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Variable removal is already pretty good, but then yeah, you get to basically refund your extra mana.
Uh-huh. You just throw all your mana into it.
Yeah, if you don't have anything, like if it's not worth bluffing, you're like, I don't have anything else to do with my mana anyway. I might as well pour 7, mana to deal 7 damage to this 4/4.
Yeah, get 3 treasure back.
And get my 3 treasure back. Yeah. Hell to pay. That's cool.
And then the last one is Lost on the Range.
I always say it. Fibblethip.
That's probably more correct.
Yeah.
I just kind of went. So,
long-time Magic fans will know who we're talking about. He's very
honestly, the card art is fantastic.
He's hilarious.
I don't know, like
he's a little one-eyed Cyclops dude.
Yeah.
I feel like they made his eyeball even bigger in the art. He's goofy.
So he's a homunculus.
Yes. They should have made him.
He's a 3 mana 1/1.
Yeah, I think he's always a 1/1. He's got a cowboy hat on now, though. I can't believe they didn't give him another creature type. He's
like mount?
I was thinking like a ranger or some kind of...
Or an explorer? Is that a creature type?
No. I don't know what cowboys are in this set, I guess.
Rogues? Yeah. Anyway, so he's a 3 mana, 1 and 2 blue, 1/1. So that's pretty bad. With Ward 2.
That's better.
But then his abilities are kind of broken. You may look at the top card of your library at any time.
I like it. For 3 mana, whoa. They rarely do that.
Yeah.
At 3.
He's also got Ward 2.
Last time they did that at 3, they had to ban that guy.
So you may look at the top card of your library anytime.
Huh?
The top card of your library has plot.
I'm right. I don't know what that means.
No one does. It doesn't even explain it on the card.
Oh, man.
What it says is the plot cost is equal to its mana cost.
Oh, okay.
You may plot non-land cards from the top of your library. I don't know why they decided to change it.
It's probably foretell. The plot cost is what now?
Equal to its mana cost.
It's probably foretell.
Is that just a way to like not allow it to be foretold or something?
Foretell was a mechanic where you can exile a card from your hand for like I think it was always 2 mana, and then you could cast it on a later turn for a cheaper cost. That was usually the actual cost of the spell reduced by 2. In some scenarios, it was actually only reduced by 1, so you ended up paying more mana overall. But you could like spend 2 mana now and then only 3 mana later instead of 4 mana or 5 mana. It was an interesting mechanic. It also got you cast from exile triggers, which was nice, and save hand space.
Yeah.
Exile cards from your hand to get like a second hand here face down. So that's probably what plot is, because I think foretell was only instants and sorceries, but I could be wrong. And now plot is maybe just any non-land card.
Well, you have to play them.
Yeah, and then no, okay, yeah. So remind me, its plot cost is equal to its mana cost,
and you may plot
from the top of your library.
Non-land cards from the top of your library.
I have a feeling it's like a mana bank. It's like if this thing costs 5 mana, I can pay 5 mana now and just exile it face down, and then I can cast it for free on a later turn as like a mana bank. Plot.
Shall we look up what?
Yeah, does the wiki have anything for it yet? Probably not, if it hasn't been officially spoiled.
Plot mechanic. Plot, you may pay and exile this card from your hand. Cast it as a sorcery on a later turn without paying its mana cost.
Boom.
Plot only is a sorcery.
Nailed it.
Plot is an alternative cost mechanic introduced in Outlaws of Thunder Junction. So the plot cost, you may pay
the mana
the cost and exile this card from your hand, though.
Yeah, that's why Pipplethip lets you do it from the top of the
top of the library. You may plot non-land cards from the top of your library.
That's cool.
Cast it as a sorcery on a later turn.
Yeah.
Without paying its mana cost. Plot only as a sorcery.
That was the same as Foretell. It was interesting. You couldn't just like exile it from your hand and then cast it again. You had to wait.
Interesting. So you can plot any card you desire
with
him on the battlefield.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's got to actually have plot on the card.
Interesting. So you could have does it have to be the next turn or on a later turn?
Just a later turn, just not.
So in your second main phase, you could just if you have extra mana,
just plot everything.
Just plot a bunch of stuff, a bunch of different sorceries or creatures.
Yeah, any non-land then.
And then just at the beginning of my turn, I plot this.
It's very similar to Foretell, except you don't need the mana for it, which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
That draft, that's going to be annoying if I end up drafting that set, maybe on Magic Arena, because they can just always have a threat out of nowhere for free. I guess only as a sorcery.
Only as a sorcery.
You can only plot as a sorcery, but if you plotted an instant, you can cast that.
No. It says you can only cast it as a sorcery on a later turn.
Cast it as a sorcery on a later turn.
Without paying its mana cost.
Wow.
So you can only plot as a sorcery and cast those that are plotted as a sorcery.
Oh, okay, that's worse then. That's fine.
But if you have sorcery cards, you just plot them. You have extra mana on a turn. You have a 3 mana thing.
It's still fine. It's definitely not crazy, though.
No.
I was thinking.
No. So
yeah.
Anyway, those are the mana cards I had, or the mana cards, the magic cards that I had.
Big magic.
Big.
Lots of magic card news.
How was your experience with you want to move into that?
Yeah, sure.
Your experience with the new Fallout decks.
The new Fallout decks have arrived. I played very extensive research.
Thousands of games.
Thousands. I calculated every possibility, every outcome, the win percentages of every card. Yes, and I've come to the conclusion that it's just Caesar. Caesar is king. Hail Caesar.
So, really?
Yeah.
That's not the one you thought was going to be the best either.
I thought I was going to be.
You thought the creature one or the mutant one was going to be the best.
No. So realistically, I only played 2 games, and these are all my disclaimers. I only played 2 games. They were both 3-player games, and so I played 2 of the decks, and Davis, buddy, played the other 2 decks
at the same time.
Yeah. So in both those games, I was playing against one of the Fallout decks, and then another, comparable power level. So yeah, I got to play the mutant.
Who's the third player?
Colin, yeah. I got to play the mutant deck against the science deck, the energy counter, and then in a different game, I played the Caesar deck versus the dog meat or Voltron deck. And I mean, I think maybe I'm biased, but the Caesar deck ran away with the game. It was insane, yeah. His ability was kind of a sleeper for me. It was a lot stronger than I thought.
Remind me what it is.
So he's a 4 mana 4/4, and it's just when you attack, which is important. He doesn't have to attack. When you attack, you may sacrifice another creature, and if you do, you get to do 2 of the 3 bullet points that he has, which is pretty strong. I thought just one ability was it's fine, but 2 of the following 3 are really good. It's you make 2 1/1 soldiers with haste that are attacking. Tapped and attacking. So it's bare minimum, you sacrifice 1 dinky little token to get 2.
And then on the next turn, can you sacrifice
another token to get 2 more?
Yeah.
You just have to sacrifice a creature, and then you get 2 tapped and attacking. You draw a card to lose a life. Never bad. And then deal damage to target opponent equal to the number of tapped tokens you control.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a finisher.
Yeah, just treasure token. Just float a bunch of mana.
Yeah, that's how I ended up winning the game. Is I had a pretty decent board wipe that was actually I made my legendary humans indestructible, so I kept Caesar and some other guy I had on the board. I did destroy all non-token creatures, And then it's like I swung kind of half and half, and then Caesar dealt another 8 damage to that player, and I killed them both in one combat. Like,
wow.
Obviously, I'm biased, but that's most of the creatures in that deck were like 3 mana and under. And
Oh, wow.
They all had synergies, like human soldier synergy.
Yeah.
It was very strong. Dealing 2 of those abilities each turn was great.
Extra card draw, plus 2 soldiers at least.
Draw, like Caesar got removed one time. I had to recast him at 6, but I didn't feel bad. Like,
yeah. Late enough in the game where... Remind me what colors he is?
Red, white, black.
Red, white, black. Okay.
So that was my spoiler from earlier. Mardu kind of always does combat, but this was like soldier themed.
Yeah, very cool.
Love seeing the new art. I think I've already given a synopsis on that. Fallout card's great. Flavor was cool. Love seeing the new art. Favorite card from the set is Boone, who's still my favorite character from Fallout New Vegas, the sniper guy.
Yeah.
I got him out in game. He worked exactly like I thought he would. He's perfect.
Just sniping targets.
Just sniping targets or sniping the players that they don't want their creatures to die.
Wow.
And eventually got up to like 8 damage, and it's like, okay, I guess I'll let my creature die because I'm not taking 8.
Yeah, for sure.
He's got lifelink on him, so I'm gaining 8.
Oh, I forgot he had lifelink.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Random thing I also noticed, he's an uncommon, so for Pauper Commander players out there, I'm just saying Boone.
He's an uncommon?
He's an uncommon.
Why?
I don't know. He's a 3 mana 3/3 with reach and lifelink. And then he doesn't have to attack, but when you attack with 2 or more creatures, you put 2 counters on him, and then you do the thing where it's like you can either snipe a creature, or the player can pick if they want to get sniped instead for the amount of counters on him. So each turn it's 2, 4, 6, 8. And he doesn't have to attack. You can keep him safe. You just have to attack with 2 other creatures.
I'm just thinking like 4 of those in one deck would be obnoxious.
Luckily, he's legendary, but at least always having that effect.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Okay. He's a legendary uncommon.
A legendary uncommon, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Magic boomers don't like it, but...
I might be a magic boomer then, because that doesn't make any sense to my brain.
We're going to have legendary commons eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, so in terms of...
I thought Pauper could only be common.
The Pauper Commander... Your commander can be an uncommon.
Oh, interesting.
It doesn't have to be legendary, actually, for Pauper Commander. Just any uncommon can be your commander. It's a goofy side format. There's not really a whole lot of regulation around it, but
kind of sounds fun.
It's fun. Yeah, it's you pick any uncommon, all the same rules, except you have 30 life instead of 40.
That makes sense.
There's not really any...
Because commons?
Yeah, and there's no combos. It's really just combat damage.
Yeah. Be long games.
Yeah, that's why it's 30 life.
Yeah.
My Pauper Commander deck I've built is poison counters. So you still only have 10 life. It's hilarious. Anyway, so yeah, I'm biased, but I won that game. So Caesar, he's the best.
All hail
Caesar. I thought the next most powerful, in my opinion, was the mutant deck. I ended up losing that game, but I thought it was very strong. At least in a pre-con meta. Just because it's got a bunch of big fat creatures in it. Just very strong in a
that makes sense.
The game we played maybe was outside the norm, but it went for like 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Because we were just pre-con meta. We're just playing battle cruiser magic, as they call it. I play my big fat creature. I play a big fat creature. I play another big fat creature. And then you just have this like stalemate of big fat creatures.
It's like Cold War, mutually assured destruction type thing.
Definitely. It was even better. Davis ended up winning that game with the energy deck. I'm going to say that's the next most powerful. He just kept copying my big creatures.
Oh, interesting.
Because he had an artifact that let him just enter as a copy, and then that deck has artifact recursion. So anytime I killed it, he could just get the copy back from the graveyard.
Nice.
Like, oh yeah, that was a good game.
The face commander of that one is not Optimus Prime.
She's that's right. Scientist who makes Optimus Prime.
Right.
Dr. Madison Lee.
It's not actually Optimus Prime. It's America Prime?
Liberty Prime.
Liberty Prime.
Yeah. Democracy is non-negotiable.
Yeah. For democracy.
Death is a preferable alternative to communism. Those are his quotes.
I mean, both end in death, so...
That's what I'm saying.
It's
better dead than red.
Segue into a funny thing that I saw was that Helldivers is just like going so strong.
Aren't they super based?
Their CEO is super cool.
Yeah.
The idea that they just have one guy running the universe.
He is the bad guy.
And people are it's like a thing now.
I don't know how he gets breaks. Like, what is he?
Well, apparently he just does it whenever he wants, I guess. But he plans out the wars and everything. Mm-hmm. But what's cool about this game, and I really think we should get it.
Yeah,
it looks really fun. But you're actively taking back territories, mm-hmm. and then there's reinforcements that come, and it's not computer generated reinforcements.
Oh yeah,
it's this guy who so there's a bunch of territories on the maps, right?
Yeah.
And each planet, there's two battlefronts. One's the bugs and one's the robots.
Yep.
And you're literally attempting to push back the enemies, and they're using the stats of what people are playing to maneuver the map.
Mm-hmm.
And then once the results are in of how many battles were fought on this planet, how many robots were killed on this planet, this guy, this employee of the company, just says I'm going to put this many reinforcements here.
Yeah.
And this many reinforcements here. Oh, and by the way, there was a queen that spawned on this planet, and then
I think that's what you said last week. He just gets to play Ender's Game.
He just gets to play Ender's Game.
Yeah.
He's just a big DM
against all of the players all over the world.
It's such a brilliant idea.
Great idea. Dude, indie game companies, they're killing it with these ideas.
They're smashing it.
It is a good time to be a gamer.
I did see, speaking of bad time to be a gamer.
Ah, yes. Bad time to be a AAA gamer.
What was the one, the Sea of Thieves ripoff?
Skull and Bones?
Skull and Bones. Yeah, Skull and Bones.
Mm-hmm.
Had a total of, you wouldn't guess how many concurrent players.
Oh, geez.
You would not guess. So it's 2 weeks after release? 3 weeks?
3 at this point.
3 weeks after release.
I'm going to say 50,000. There's probably at least 50,000 on Call of Duty at any given moment. At least.
You are off by 2 orders of magnitude.
Ooh.
So not 1 order, which would be 5,000. 2 orders, there was less than 500 concurrent players on the game.
100. But Steve, this is the first
quadruple A game.
$70 experience.
Yeah. So
streamers played it for a week, and that was it.
Streamers played it for 4 hours.
There's no content.
Because Suicide Squad killed the Batman, Joker, Superman in Arkham City.
Kill the Justice League.
Oh, kill the Justice League. Yeah. Sorry,
Suicide Squad killed the Justice League too.
Was touted to be the worst game of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was more concurrent players on that than there were.
It's March 19th, and there's already 2 contenders.
So there was more concurrent players on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League than there was on Skull and Bones.
That's crazy.
Skull and Bones? Yeah, Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones. And that's impressive considering, oh no, dang it. They don't have to compete with Payday 3. Payday 3 technically came out last year.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Segue into that one if you want.
Payday 3, I think, has 0 players at this point. I saw stats that there were more people in Payday 1 than Payday 3, which was a 15-year-old game.
I didn't even know people still played Payday 1 because Payday 2 is so much better.
It is objectively better, and it has all of the content from Payday 1.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. I think I'm probably less than 100, I think was the number I saw. 86 playing Payday 3 now. Yeah. And
86 people?
I think so. And this was over the weekend. I didn't double check that one this week. Normally I like to take
that's a third of the people that go to church.
Yeah. It's nobody. On Steam.
There's 200 people in church, 240 people in church.
Yeah.
It's a third of.
You've got, I don't know.
It's if the women's choir was playing one game together.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the only
for the entire world out of 8 billion people.
Mm-hmm. It's a pretty embarrassing game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and I sent you that article about the.
Yes, I did read that.
So they came out with this update or this plan to update Payday 3 to make it Probably worse, if we're being honest.
Better. We fixed it.
Yeah, super dumb. Like, they were just... The CEO was trying to cover his butt, which didn't work.
Yep.
Because he got canned.
His butt got booted.
He got fired big time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading the article that I sent you, and basically the board of directors was like, yeah, he screwed up. Like, the game sucks. No one playing it. We spent oodles and oodles and oodles of money on this. And
it was kind of be their swan song, I think. I think they were like out of money before releasing the game. Yeah.
And I think they probably were able to keep afloat because so many people bought it.
Yeah.
Just because, like, it was... I mean, if you loved Payday 2...
You would have bought Payday 3 thinking,
yeah,
sure, I want more.
I never buy a game the day it comes out.
Oh, yeah, never again.
I just never have, just because... I don't know. I never really am like a hype buyer, right? I always want to like be able to like watch someone play the game.
Yeah.
Or if I'm buying a new gun, I'll watch someone review it or like get my hands on it, stuff like that, right?
Play a demo, maybe.
Exactly. And I feel bad for people who blindly trust that these companies are going to make good stuff all the time.
Steam only guarantees a refund if you played less than 2 hours. After that, you kind of have to battle with Steam a little bit to try to get your money back. So,
I mean, that's one game of Payday.
Yeah.
You play one game, you're like, this game sucks, and just refund it.
Hopefully. That's why like games that have tutorials longer than 2 hours, I'm out. That's devious.
Genius.
Yeah. You're like, okay, I want to fully experience your game. I should hopefully be experiencing a good amount of your game in 2 hours. Not obviously the whole content.
2 hours is a pretty fair time limit if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Like 2 hours and like if like you're 2 hours into like Call of Duty.
That's a quarter of the way through a Call of Duty campaign.
Yeah.
Like, because you can knock those out in a weekend, 8 hours, give or take.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm trying to think of like 2 hours into like Remnant 2.
Yeah, you get a feel for the game.
Yeah, or 2 hours into like Pal World.
Definitely.
Like, that's super fair.
There's a lot of old like indie games, most RPGs. You get a feel for the level progression, the combat within 2 hours. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair time limit, I would say, because they don't want to just be like, oh yeah, it's 10 hours. I mean, you can like 10 hours, like you beat some games.
Yeah, and then get the full refund.
Yeah, no, that 2 hours makes sense.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm
Payday 3. It's dead in the water.
Oh yeah, it's
dead
freaking
on arrival.
It's the Titanic.
Yeah.
What was the name of the sub that exploded?
The Titan.
Was that really called the Titan?
I'm pretty sure.
That wasn't the book? Oh, that was the Olympic that sunk. No,
I think it was the Titan submarine.
Was it called the Titan? I don't remember.
Yeah, because I saw some meme the other day that was like, we really got to stop naming naval vessels with the starting with Titan.
You know what? I also saw that meme.
Yeah,
yeah, you're right.
Somebody else wanted to make another Titanic 2 or something. Like, guys, stop.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, it's like the Payday 3 like is the Titan. It's just imploded underwater.
Imploding.
At 40,000 feet. It sunk, and then it was like, and everyone's like,
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Anyway.
There's another flop this week. I don't think it made big news. I forgot about it, and then just earlier today I was thinking, hey, what should we talk about? It's related, obviously. Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original Star Wars Battlefront 2, that was like PlayStation,
PS2, maybe?
PS2 maybe. Great game. I feel like most people.
Isn't that the one we've played before with like Colin, me, and you?
No, I think we played the new Battlefront ones before.
Is that 3?
No, they technically, EA came in and they made Star Wars Battlefront and then Star Wars Battlefront 2. But they're not technically the same games, because they added episode 7, 8, 9. So they're not true remakes, not really.
Sure.
This one, I think some other company got the rights and they made Star Wars Battlefront 2, the remake collection. So it actually has 1 and 2 of the originals in it. I don't think they updated the graphics or much. I'm pretty sure they were just marketing as like, hey, we're reselling the game and we're going to pay for multiplayer servers. Right?
That's reasonable.
It's reasonable. That seems fine. Like, there's a lot of.
How much were they charging for it?
$35.
Okay.
When the original games are still on Steam for like $4. But you can't play multiplayer on the originals. All right, sure. So I got to pay $35 if I want to play with my friend. I think the originals, they're on Steam. Surely you can still play on LAN, but you can still do LAN parties. But I guess you want to play online with your buddies, you got to pay $35 for this remake. Here's the kicker, though: the multiplayer didn't work, and everybody got pissed. It's got overwhelmingly negative reviews on Steam. Bunch of people refunded it. They're like, "Nah, we paid $35 to play multiplayer on this game. Your multiplayer did not work. Sorry." So a lot of people checked out, and I think that's probably the end of the story for that one.
Yikes!
Which is unfortunate.
Well, I mean, cool idea.
Cool idea. Yeah, I'm just like. Yeah, we want to host this old nostalgic game and, give people that opportunity again.
That's reasonable.
Like if, I don't think Valve would ever do this, but if they were just like, yeah, here's Counter-Strike 1.6 again.
Yeah, they're never going to do that because everyone would just want CSGO back.
Yeah, same. Yeah, even just, here's CSGO again. We're paying for the servers.
I think that's why they put it on top of the old ones.
Yeah.
They say, yeah, no more CSGO, and now there's only CS2.
Uh-huh.
No more CS 1.6, now it's only CSGO.
Because I would love to go back and play 1.6.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch of people who would.
Yeah, or Counter-Strike Source, I guess, was when it moved to Steam. But yeah, same idea.
Yeah.
Cool idea, but very, very poor execution. If that was the one mechanic, the one thing you were offering, and then you didn't even have that, like,
yeah, that's kind of rough.
I didn't look too much into the company. See if they seem relatively small fish. Sucks for them, but yeah. Again, maybe you just shouldn't buy a game the day it comes out. So
yeah.
just give them a week. But at this point, they've already been downvoted into the dust. So maybe they should have waited a week before releasing it.
Maybe they should have had like a test period.
Yeah.
Like, you have to imagine they had tests, right?
Surely. I get to some extent games like Helldivers 2. Their devs have come out and said, we were not expecting this many people.
Well, and their server problems weren't even necessarily like... The game didn't have a problem.
Yeah, it was still playable.
Literally, well, the problem was that they didn't rent enough server space.
Yeah, so you couldn't get into the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, the Battlefront 2 remake, they just said that, the multiplayer just didn't work. It was just crashing all the time. You couldn't even get in. If you finally got in, you'd see now that there's only like 2 or 3 servers running anyway. Like,
jeez, there are more servers running for freaking Vietnam Rising Storm Vietnam,
yeah,
than a brand new game.
Yeah.
I wonder what the concurrent players are for Rising Storm Vietnam.
Yeah, because there's like always people playing that one.
I played it for it's a 7-year-old game now, 8-year-old game. And I got the game like 4 years ago, and it was like old then.
Yeah. Still has a loyal fan base.
And it does. And there are like people that have modded servers, but the mods are like, yeah, instead of 60 v 60, now it's 120 v 120.
That's pretty cool.
And the server is full.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's impressive.
They're called mega servers. There's like 7 of them. And it's just 240 people on these servers.
Yeah, that's wild.
And there's no time limit on the games either.
Yeah, it's just...
It's you win or you hold them back. Like, so in like a normal match, it's like 45 minutes, right? Yeah. It's like the max time. Average. And then you can if you held them off for the 45 minutes from taking all the points, you win. Or if you keep them off of 1 point for long enough, you also win. Or if you've stormed the point as the attacker, you get to the last point, you win.
Gotcha.
In this mega server, is either the attacker has to get that last point, or the defender has to hold them at another point.
Wow.
There's no you can't just war of attrition them.
Wait, so how does the defender win then? They just have to.
So there'll be usually it's a linear map, right? So there'll be points A through D, A through F, E, however many, whatever the map is, right? Okay. So you'll start by capping. So the attackers are attempting to attack point A, which will be the first one, right? Mm-hmm. The defenders will spawn prior to the attackers to take up defensive positions. If the defenders hold point A for long enough, there's no match time limit,
but there is a timer like per point.
Yeah, so it's if there's not a single, I forget the rule of it, but it's like if there's not a single enemy on the point, or if there's not a single attacker on the point for like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Which is like a really generous, like if an attacker steps foot onto the point, it resets that time.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
And these are 120 v 120.
So you can just go throw a body at it if you get close enough. And then
the problem is that they also increase the uptick in like mortar strikes.
Ooh.
So the timer is like cut down by like a significant amount.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just have like these, depending on which side you're playing, whether you're the Viet Cong or you're the American coalition,
mm-hmm.
you're either having like an AC-130 just spray everything, or you're just having these like mortars and like effectively kamikaze pilots.
Oh yeah.
And like it can be brutal.
Jeez.
Like there was one, I was playing one. Well, and another thing is that as a defender, if you're the Viet Cong, mm-hmm. you can build Viet Cong tunnels.
Oh, fun. Okay.
And so there's a spawn point, or there might sometimes 2 or 3 spawn points for the mm-hmm. attackers. But if you're attacking as Viet Cong, if you're the platoon leader, you can dig a tunnel for your squad.
Cool.
And then that can be like, I think it has to be 50 feet away from the point.
So you
then
end up spawning pretty close.
You can spawn really close, but if you do that and they call a mortar strike there, your whole platoon is just going to be recycling themselves.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Because you'll spawn and then there's a mortar will hit you and like kill 4 of you.
That's an interesting way to... That's cool. They built the whole community around the mega servers.
Yeah.
In classic Battlefield 1942, it was the first Battlefield. I played that one a bunch growing up. It was. I think it was the first best like LAN party game actually, because I think you had 32v32, which this is back like late 90s PCs. So that was insane to think of a server,
sure.
64 people. But the way they did in that one was, again, no time limits, but they just had attackers had to capture points. Obviously, they had reinforcements. You had lives.
Yeah. So that
and if attackers would cap points, you'd get more total lives. And defenders usually started with like way more. So you just had to hold them off.
Well, that's what. So the actual version of the game
mm-hmm.
is that.
Is that? Oh, okay.
So there's a time limit and life counter.
Nice.
So if you can't just throw bodies, you got to be like sneaky and try to like actually like 1 for 1 at least, right?
Mm-hmm. I always liked when that gets down to the wire. If it's like all of your points get captured, you don't just lose; you actually just run out of lives.
Yeah.
So then you're like sudden death mode.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. So it's everyone else on your team has 1 life left to make them count.
There was one I was playing,
another point or something.
One of the maps. So in Rising Storm, at least, one of the crazy things is the vehicles are like really good, like really realistically good. I mean, right? Even for like an older game, and they're these guys who they must have like professional setups for like flying helicopters.
Oh yeah,
because they'll just be pulling like there was one guy I was playing with him, and he was just an amazing helicopter pilot. He would
you can hear his mouse dragging on the pad.
The only thing he would do is he would role play as a Huey pilot.
Yes, I love it.
And so he would come in, and you could just hear him yell. He would hot mic the entire time, right? Just like, coming in, boys.
It's like singing "Fortunate Son" the whole way there. Like,
well, and so whenever you're in the helicopter, he would play music like that.
Yes, nice.
Like Black Sabbath, War Pigs.
Yep.
And so he would be flying, and I was his gunner, his door gunner for one game, for one of these matches, and he would come screaming, and most of the time the Huey guys, it's like guys with mouse and keyboard, right? So you're like, right? This guy is like, and just flying all over. and we're doing these gun runs where he's literally just like flying the helicopter like this so that I can shoot,
So
and
you have
then
a clear shot.
my co door gunner on the other side just like he would go
taking evasive maneuvers but giving you a steady shot.
he's just gun running the entire time. Yep. And like we had to have killed 30 guys that way. Which is a lot when there's only 130 tickets, or 130 lives, so to speak, on a 64-player server or whatever.
That's cool.
Just absolutely. Anyway, you had it's enough about an old game that we don't need to talk about. It's a fun game.
That sounds fun though.
It's a very fun game if you're into shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Takes a minute because it can be very frustrating when you're just getting like sniped from like you're like I don't know where I'm getting hit from.
The learning curve, yeah.
Because it's not like I get hit 30 times and I die. It's like no, if you get hit once, it's pretty much dead.
Right.
Oh, and shotguns work like shotguns.
Yeah.
And you can load them with buckshot or slugs.
Video game shotguns.
And so like it's really annoying when like you're like trying to cap a point and there's just some Viet Cong guy with a side-by-side shotgun just like braining your team.
Yep,
it's part of the sapper class, most broken class when you're defending because you just throw a ton of grenades and you have a side-by-side shotgun. Easy. And so you're just like, oh, there's a group. Grenade. Oh, there's more still. And one hit kills them with the shotgun from like 100 yards away.
Jeez. Brutal.
It's brutal.
Realistic shotguns.
Yeah, it's great.
Nice.
Anyway.
Old
game, fun game.
Good game.
You had 2 things you wanted to talk about?
No, we'll save them for next time.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah. Thank you for watching this week's episode of the 5G Podcast.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more.
And we'll see you next time.
Thanks.